Hi, everybody. How's everybody's Saturday going? It's a few minutes past noon, which means it's time for this week's Saturday RadChat, and the dogs are having a fit. They're excited. I know, I am. We do. We have a super chat option now underneath the thing. That's amazing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, then that stupid thing is in the way. Ooh, I just have nothing to set it on. Of course. Because I have to do my makeup still. I just don't have any eyelashes. Ooh. Nope. That's not going to work. It'll be in the sun. Can you see me? Oh. That's great. I have the lovely little computer now and I have nothing to put it on. Story of my life. Well, I got to put it down because I have to put it on my face. I just like haggard, you know? I don't want to face that way because then they'll see the yard, the dogs, and bleh. Does that work? Maybe. Sort of, kind of. Oh, I did bring the big black bag out here. Yes, I did. I'll have a lot more shade here in just a minute. That helps. The glare is terrible. I'm so sorry. That's not really a whole lot better. But you can see more of the plants now. And my lights. Mm-hmm. Hello, somebody. How is your Saturday going? It's really nice here. I'm so, relieved because I was worried I was gonna have to sit outside in the weather. I still have to put my eyelashes on, so you get to watch me do that again this week. Huzzah! I hope everybody enjoyed the video. It was an interesting one to make. Like, I love this when it happens, though. Like, just in my casual travels through, YouTube, I stumble on something and I think, oh, I can use that. So I don't have to go hunt anything down. What up, Susie? Thank you. What part did you like best? And please excuse me while I put my eyelashes on. Well, been a hectic morning. Mm-hmm. You're getting a little bit longer lately, I've noticed. That's not something I'm doing on purpose. Like I say, I just kind of having to watch these two videos almost back to back in the same day, and they seemed to dovetail so nicely together. I don't know if that's the algorithm's fault or what. Besides the obvious male voice and screeching in Barbie. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was instantly glad that I'd actually bothered to pull up the clip because I hadn't been, trying to clock anybody. And they're all so highly done up anyway. It's, good luck was my approach. I wasn't going to try and figure out who was who, you know what I'm saying? But then he spoke. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. There's where that is then. All right. And I feel that this is a distinction that needs to be made more often. It's not the fact that they're male that's the problem. It's the secretly part that we have an issue with, right? You go ahead, be male all day and all night. Nobody's gonna stop you, right? But like, hiding that, keeping that a secret, being secretly male. Yeah, makes you a weirdo. Who maybe shouldn't be in the women's locker room or whatever. Yeah. And it's this willful. One of these things is not like the other, right? And they stand out no matter what they do because there's like differences and stuff. Yeah. Oh no. Uh, Gosh, but what was I saying? What up, Philological? How you doing? Did you like the video? Did you watch the video? You excited to watch me put on my eyelashes again this week? Oh, I left my book in the house. Uh-oh. Just try and stop you. Your take is always interesting. Uh, yeah, I just kind of happened to stumble on 2 videos this week that just went together. I love it when that happens. Yes, exactly. It's Little Red Riding Hood. Our problem is deception, not truth of male or femaleness. That's it. That's what I was saying. Thank you, Susie. Yeah. And philological, I think this probably uh is an interesting angle to get your take on. I don't know if you, from what you said, I'm not sure whether you watched it or not, but in the video I make the point that he talks about fear propaganda against trans women and how they're all secretly men because that's bad because men have an evil male essence. And I'm like, no, that's fine. I was having lunch with my mom, so missed the video. No, it's cool. Anyway, synopsis. So like, trans women are bad because they're secretly men, and men are bad. It's like, no, it's not the male part that's bad. It's the secretly part that we're objecting to. Yeah, that's the part that makes you a creep. It's not being a man that's a problem. It's being a man and keeping that a secret from people so that you can go into the ladies' room. That's what makes you a weirdo. Like not you. Obviously, that would be at least the thing that people might take issue with. Yeah. But yeah, men being male, no issue there. No problem with that. You know what? Frankly, be the most feminine man in the world, please, for the love of all that this, for the love of everything in this world, please. Will the feminine man please step forward? You know, just try to stop me was about being male, not going into women's faces. Just to be clear, okay, that's cool. I was, yeah. Or just, just as a reminder, everybody, be sure to check the live chat thing at the top. It probably says top chat there because they automatically assume you don't want to see everything everyone says for some reason. Even me, the hostess of your lovely little experience here. So go figure. Freaking YouTube, right? What else can you say sometimes? Freaking YouTube. Oh my goodness. But yeah, you can't. And like, it's really funny because I have a guy talking about feminism and I have a woman talking about how men are under attack. Which I just thought that's a coincidence. I didn't seek those out. That just presented itself like that, and I just thought, yeah, it makes it everything hit a little softer. I think when you reverse the roles like that, or hit a little different anyway. And the moral of the story is that the media hates us both. And the message that both men and women are getting in their targeted media is that you are on your own. Which isn't even true, right? Mm, I am bad at this. Like, I hope y'all know I'm not sitting here doing this in front of a camera to show off. Oof. Just let your hair grow out, they say. Sounds like a fun vid. Never saw that Star Wars movie you featured, but I see how people were complaining about the toxic masculinity message. I don't see it. Perhaps it's backlash from the original Han Solo. Mm-hmm. Character being quite a chauvinist, but in a really sweet way. And it was Harrison. Right, yeah. Like exactly what I said. They flipped the script in a lot of ways. And to someone like me who is not really a Star Wars person, but I am familiar with a lot of these tropes, it was pretty fucking funny. It was. But this movie's not supposed to be aimed at me. Ugh. Well, good enough. That's one done. One to go. Like, we're seriously weird now, huh? Halloween was last week. Right, and Harrison Ford is just so damn charming, and like, no offense to Oscar Isaac, I believe his name is, that actor. In my opinion, he is quite the dish, but he doesn't have the on-screen charisma, at least not in that movie, that Harrison Ford ever does, right? So, again, it does look calculated. It does. And then the guy who's talking about the Barbie movie literally refers to like how maybe someday men will disappear. Who knows? It's like, why would you even say that? You are one. That's weird, right? You know, aside from the absurdity of the idea of the identity of man changing, sure, yeah, good. Maybe some of that could use an overhaul, but just disappearing, like as an identity, as long as adult human males still exist, we just won't have any idea of like who they are or what they're like generally. You think men as a group are just going to be like, yeah, whatever, we don't need to be here anyway? No. No, I don't think so. That's generally not how that goes. And like baggage claim tends to get a little hyperbolic. She makes the point that, you know, this is an assault on manhood, essentially, that men are under threat of domination through these cultural messages in what used to be near and dear to their hearts, right? And just she doesn't make a good case for this in her video. She just sort of rants and shows clips from movies. But like Kay was illustrating it for her. We're like referring to his own identity that way, as if someday, whatever, maybe it won't exist, who knows? You know, in that casual sort of virtue signaling kind of way. Essentially wishing himself out of existence. Like, if that isn't like internalized misandry, you know, like it sounds like the internalized misogyny I hear from some women, but you know, the inverse of that. And he sure does know a lot of feminist theory. I like me some Oscar Isaac too, though. You're right. I think I've seen some trans folks come out with that weird men will disappear shit. I want to just try whatever they're smoking. I do not. Whatever that is, they keep that shit to themselves. They probably kill brain cells. But the idea that there are some self-hating men out there, I mean, I've met them. We probably all have, right? This is not, I'm not making this up. I didn't imagine this. I didn't even, you know, come up with this idea. That there is a counterpart on the other side to the internalized misogyny that we talk about. If the choice is Andrew Tate or male identity disappearing, I'd be hard pressed to choose. Unless you were a man. Then the choice becomes pretty obvious. Thank you for taking it there. That is where I was trying to lead us. Right. They when men as a group feel threatened by domination, what do? They just be like, "Oh, okay, we're no." They fight back, don't they? How many stories are about this noble struggle? Okay, because they feel noble doing so. They're not. They then are cast as the hero of their own story, which is exactly what everybody wants, right? It all fits together so well. I just, what up, Critical? How you doing? Like I just, did you watch the video? Um, I don't know. I just couldn't help but see like they're being led this direction, are they not? Like they're essentially goading a bunch of young men. What'd you think? Andrew Tate is more like a teenage boy identity, right? But in a 35-year-old man, which is fucking terrifying. My dad once told me actually that he was exactly the same. Now, mind you, he was in his 40s when he said this. He was older than I am now when he said this. He might have been in his 50s. I was a teenager or young adult when he told me this. That he was exactly the same person he was at 18. Which at the time I was like, right around that age, one side or the other, and it didn't really hit me how kind of terrifying that is. I've been saying this for a while. The more liberated women become in the real world, look how violent porn has become towards women. Not coincidental, right? Oh, God. I hadn't even gone there yet because blissfully pornography is not a part of my daily experience. The squirrels have been eating corn like crazy. I'm getting closer. Ooh. Are you going to build them a little house? I don't know why I just thought that. That's probably what I would do. I would build them a little squirrel house. And put the nuts in there, and see if I get them comfortable in the house that I built them, and then they might trust me more. You don't believe me when I say I've never watched porn. Well, I don't see why not. I've read people who claim to have never had coffee. So, what? I'm going to tell you what your experience is? That's extremely unusual. Unfortunately. Although I have volunteered for the experience more than once. On the other hand, that's how I know it's not really my thing. Alex Aaron, aka Gender Mapper, oh yeah, has done great research on the porn industry. She opened my, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like, you speaking of my dad, he has quite the collection, or he did for the longest time. So, you know, you could just kind of say I grew up with pornography on a big shelf in the bedroom, you know, like it was art or some shit, that like 70s mentality, like, so yeah. I haven't felt the need to dip my toe in that water too much. I'm glad someone's doing it though. Much love to those who I really get too far into that at all, and it just turns my stomach so hard. I really can't. Yeah, to the point where like that shit doesn't even make sense to me. Like a dirty film or dirty pictures, like okay, fine. But like literally anything beyond that, I'm like, why though? Like what? How many people have watched it? What? What? What is the world? What is the world? What am I? What, like I started to have an existential crisis because it does not make any sense to me. Oh, let's face it, humanity going down that rabbit hole too long. Yeah, and it doesn't take very long for me, I guess. I just. So, sincerely, I'm so glad some people are doing that work. It's important work. On a shell? On a shelf. On a big shelf. Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking Playboys and Penthouse magazines going back to the 70s. Yeah. On a 6-foot long shelf on a wall in the bedroom. Yeah. That's where they were kept anyway. That's not where they always were, of course. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and then there's the time when I was like 10 or so. A friend of mine and she was spending the night, and we were digging through the cabinet in the living room looking for something to watch. And we found something with, this was back in the day when cassette tapes with handwritten labels were extremely common. Every household had them that I ever, suburbia, okay. And finding one with a title on it you didn't quite recognize was usually along the lines of, ooh, I wonder what movie this is. Yeah, we didn't watch much of that movie. Um, that was the day I learned what the three X's mean. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I don't. I just kind of can't. I don't know. Am I traumatized? Is that what that is? Because it just doesn't make any sense to me. My brain short circuits. I'm like, what? Like, I almost want to describe it for you because it was like a really close up of a sexual act that like looked impossible and horrifying, which I guess is good enough. That like under ordinary circumstances from like further away could have been nice. Like, but there was a detail involved that made it horrifying. It was just like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 cents, long enough for us to go, what the fuck is that? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Like, oh my God. I don't know. I guess when you're like 10 and female, the very existence of shit like that just kind of messes with your head. Wasn't Carrie Fisher dead when they filmed that movie? Was that it? I don't think so. That sure sounded like her dentures delivering that line. I don't know, though. I want to say that's the one they made right before she died because I don't think I saw the one they made after she died because that pissed me off. Let the poor woman die, for fuck's sake. Yeah, at least they have basic human dignity. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Sorry, you belong to Disney, so you never get to die. Shit. On that note, that's why those guys, those occultists, made me laugh. Those alchemists, the ones who supposedly there's literally like a half a dozen of them out there, just that I've run into in my fairly casual research because I'm not a fucking alchemist, Lord. Ah, who supposedly discovered the Philosopher's Stone, the secret to eternal life. Okay, and I'm just like, okay, first of all, where the fuck are they? Is that not the obvious question? Why doesn't everyone immediately ask this? There's a handful of immortal dudes out there running around. You trying to tell me they wouldn't be trying to direct world events? And if so, I'd like to know about it. Uh, I don't think that's actually happening. I'm just going to say that for the record. I don't think there's a room full of immortal dudes out there somewhere secretly directing world events. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying no one's ever discovered the Philosopher's Stone. There's no immortal people out there. That's not a thing. Because I really, just seriously, you don't think at least one of them would be famous as fuck? The Count of Saint Germain was famous as shit in his day when he was alive, you know. And then he died. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did though. That's why he dropped off the map of history because he fucking died. No, he's in hiding. No, he died. Right? Have you ever seen a movie called The Congress? It's about AI generated movies. It was made 10 years ago, starring Robin Wright as herself being scanned and made into AI. It was wildly accurate. Ooh, that's terrifying. No. The lady from Princess Bride? Right, and that brings me back to what I was saying. Like, yeah, material reality is the watering hole to which we must all return to, like, sustain ourselves, right? And that is important. It's important to not poison it, too. I think that I really do like that metaphor a lot. Uh, at the same time, like, ideas matter. Uh, ideas are how we've come up with all the weird shit that we do as human beings that we pride ourselves on so much. This computer, this cigarette, these clothes, like all of it, jewelry. I mean, here's an idea. These are watch hands, completely removed from their context. Do you recognize them for what they are? You know what a watch is, what a clock is. They're clock hands, right? Okay, there's this, but they've been basically reduced to the idea of a clock. Now, there's an idea that's affected everybody's lives, right? Holy shit. Like, Alchemy Stream went. You would have to really help me out with that. Maybe next Halloween. That sounds like fun. Discovers a plus for Stone Live. Yeah. I'm not down for burning any mercury, though. I hear that stuff is poisonous. And they make her young again based on Princess Bride. It is a really cool movie, mixed media, animated, and live action, totally dystopian. Ooh. They keep doing that. We might get fewer new celebrities. Do you think? Do you really think these people having a stable of dead celebrities who they own like slaves and they can make them fucking do this shit and they don't have to pay them? I'm like, I'm sorry, but that snowballs quickly, doesn't it? Yeah, you don't think they would prefer that? Dead celebrities, you don't have to pay them. They can't have meltdowns. They don't get older. They don't go on strike. They don't need to eat. They don't need to sleep. Imagine the savings in production there. I mean, from that perspective, it's almost too good not to try. And the only reason I'm even saying that is because it's disgusting how often that's literally the motivation behind whatever. It's because it was cheaper. That's it. Because they were gonna get to keep more of their welcome to the fourth industrial revolution. Even those jobs are obsolete. Yeah, can we stop calling them revolutions now? That word has like a positive ring to it. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know, but like making all the factory jobs obsolete with robots was supposed to like free us to like do other stuff, and like enjoy our lives. Like it doesn't make don't even get me started on that shit. Like 100 years ago, 150 years ago, we were supposed to have solved this. Okay, like labor was supposed to have solved this, all these problems. Okay, there's still some remnants of it. We're sitting and enjoying one of them right now on the weekend. But like, they work less than we do. Okay, that whole 8-hour workday thing was instituted because of a lot of labor agitation in the end of the 19th century. Back with the robber barons and whatnot, the Gilded Age and all that shit. And the 20th century looked like it did, in large part because of that. So, I guess what you might say is, not all revolutions have been positive or enlightening in the moment, but in retrospect, some are. Yeah. I think the idea behind starting a revolution, anybody who flatters themselves a revolutionary would probably say that what they're trying to accomplish is positive overall, right? I hope. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't call yourself a revolutionary. You'd probably self, an agent of chaos, or I don't know. They say some men just want to watch the world burn, where the revolutionary is like the opposite of that. Some men want to watch the world burn for a good reason. No, but what I was going to say was, like, when there's a surge in development in one area, you got to kind of try and keep up in others, right? So when, the technology has a surge in development and a bunch of stuff changes, like socially, you struggle to keep up because mentally the individual struggles to keep up. Like it just brings me back to this whole the relationship between the individual and the group is like so completely fucked up. Oh, truly, truly. Thank you, Freud. I'm gonna go over this again because like I just kind of put this together like last week, I think, while I was making that video. Like, okay, so like Freud sets up the inherent basic conflict within the human being, within the human psyche, to be what you want versus what society wants from you, right? That's integral, very basic, foundational to all of our internal struggle and all of our development. Except society is not a thing. It's not an entity. It is everybody. It's a group, which is not a thing that has thoughts or wants anything from you. Like, that's a child's conception of that. And this idea is built into modern culture at the level of like the concept of the ego. Like, this is kid stuff to us. And it's assumed in all our media that there's this conflict, this internal conflict in everyone's mind. Okay, top illogical. See you soon. Machines do all the important stuff. The internet snuck up on so many people, especially us over 40. Yeah, I guess I turned 40 last week or a couple weeks ago. So do I count as over 40 now? I don't know. But like, yeah, that was kind of my experience. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. Like, I was online in like 1996 reading forums. And I got bored. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't think that's for me. I went back to like what I had been doing. And didn't check back for like a decade at least. I was in my mid-20s by the time I really got on the internet again. Like that whole MySpace thing, I pretty much missed all that. The whole live journal era, like I pretty much missed all that. Yeah. I didn't have a live journal. I did have a MySpace. I didn't use it for really anything. Yeah. All right. So did it sneak up on me? Yeah. I mean, I still am not social. Not on social edit, so perhaps it's just me. Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, okay. I come at it from, again, a strange perspective because my mother is a computer programmer, or was for a long time. Like back in the 90s. So, I watched it happen. I just chose not to participate. It didn't sneak up on me so much as I'm like, oh, okay, you're doing that now? Okay, cool. Like, frankly, my mother is far more the cultural trend chaser than I ever, could possibly be. My MySpace was great. People paid me to make their profiles look cool. Oh, nice. I think the fam is home. My breakfast is in the oven. I may have to go and get it. Yeah, I may just run and go get that. Hang on.
Beautiful lady.
Okay. Did I mention the morning got away from me? I think I did. Because it did. Yeah. Oh, I ran in the house or something. What's up?
I found a stray. I brought him home. He, I just missed her.
Oh.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
Your husband is a lifesaver.
Oh.
He really is.
Okay. Hi.
He offered to give me a ride to get my medicine. My hand recently got broke. I had surgery.
Yeah.
And they put a plate right here.
Ooh.
And he offered to pay for it for me. To help me with it.
Wow.
He's a really good dude. He's told me about where he works, and he wants me to come up in there and put an application.
Oh yeah. Well, they don't break hands over there.
No,
Shit.
Yeah.
Did you ever manage to find my wallet?
No, I'm sorry.
Can
I
I use
didn't.
your card so I don't have to find my wallet?
Yeah, I think I put my wallet back in my bag, but it might be on the washing machine.
You want to see the X-ray? People usually see it. They're like, "Oh my god!"
Whoa, just what happened?
Well, my ex was very abusive, and like we just recently had a baby, and like I was up all night with the baby, right? And, like, she slept all night, so like one morning I told her, I was like, "Look, I was like, you watch the baby while I go in here, and I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and just chill for a minute." She didn't like that, so she started getting really violent. She punched me in my face. She punched my head. She ended up cheating on me with a girl in Nashville, and I found out after that she named my daughter after that girl. Yeah, and well, she beat me up basically, and like I ran out the door, and like my phone dropped out of my pocket. I turned around and my bags on my back, and I put my hand on the door frame, and she came in all of her weight into the door and like slammed on my finger. This is I'll show you first. This is what it looked like after. Called police, bro.
Where did you find this?
And then this was the break right here. And then this next X-ray, this is the gnarliest one right here.
But you gotta watch it out. You can't be stepping on people's toes.
So they went to the hospital. They put I think lidocaine or something in my knuckles.
Yep.
And then they pushed the bone back in and stitched it up. And then,
Today?
No, that was
No, he had a surgery last night.
I had my surgery last night.
He broke his hand a couple days ago.
A couple weeks ago.
What?
Yeah, it's been broke for a couple. Because like, I would have had my surgery done sooner, but I texted my family and they blocked.
Oh, the clocks went bad last weekend in the UK. Are you serious? Y'all do that dumb shit too? I'm so fucking sorry. Oh my god. Yes.
That's awesome. I can tell, bro. It's like I got in the car and I was like, actually, I was like, do you
Not
smoke?
this.
I was like, do you smoke? And he's like, my wife does, but if you got a pack, and I was like, that's not really what I was asking. I could faintly smell it, and like I didn't notice that until now, and I seen that. I was like, wait a minute, that's a dab rig right there.
Oh boy,
man.
we have a special guest. Sorry, I'm actually live streaming right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, they can't hear anything you're saying,
okay.
so they're just kind of sitting here watching me mug about it, and like, nah, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, so where did you pick this guy up, honey?
He was we were doing the food on foot.
Okay.
And he was asking directions to the Walgreens, and he was walking away. I thought I missed him pull up, so I told him I'd give him a drive. And then, you want me to get you a pack of cancer? Okay.
Please.
Do you want Lucky Strike, or do you prefer something else?
I like these. If you think they have them for a regular price at the BP as opposed to the $8 or whatever fuck the other people want to.
Pakistani place.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They are going to charge you twice as much if you do that. Just go to BP.
Okay.
Thank you.
Give me a kiss.
From all the way over here.
That's your way to say.
Oh, Ginger, honey. The dog's inside. Please.
I'm gonna go ahead and take Andrew. They'll chill out once we leave.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
After you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Love you, baby.
Oh, They went to the church this morning to hand out food. For charity. They do it regularly at our church to hand out the food for the impoverished. Um, and this kid apparently walked up asking directions to the Walgreens with a broken hand. So, the last time my husband brought home a stray, he lived on our couch for 10 months and then ran off with, I'm not even kidding you, my husband's girlfriend from high school. So, that was a fun year. Yeah, I don't know who that kid is. His name is Andrew, apparently. Yeah, so apparently we were in a house for I don't know, some sort of a I don't know. Shut up, Ika. Like I'm not trying to be unchristian or uncharitable or whatever, but like I just don't feel the need to invite people into our home, like to help them out. Like that's not one of my methods of helping people. Like I don't know. Mainly because we barely have enough room for the people who are already here, which is why that guy lived on our couch, not in a room. Oh boy. Oh yeah, but how he broke his hand was apparently his now ex-girlfriend slammed it in a door. Long story short. What do we want to make of that one? Oh my god. I have to move this umbrella. Hang on. And now the camera's in the sun, so that's fun. On it. Does that work? Maybe. Sort of, kind of. Yeah, I think so. I can't really see it, but I think the camera's out of the sun anyway, right? Oh! Oh, Ike, be quiet. I'm not letting you out of the yard. What do you... No. The husband doing his best Jeffrey Dahmer impression. That other guy didn't run off after 10 months. No, he really did, though, because, like, they called me. This girlfriend of his actually lives in New Mexico. And her life is so much fun that her ex-husband lives in Maine, and her son had been staying in Maine for the summer. So we here in Tennessee are pretty much equal, in the middle. So she had come, to stay with us for a couple nights because, we're charitable like that. And that's how they met. And he left with her, okay, when she went back to New Mexico on her way, okay. And on her way back through, I forget exactly how it happened. Maybe she stopped at, no, because her kid wasn't with her. Anyway, long story short, like, they called me together from New Mexico, giggling like a couple little kids, like, to let me know what had happened. So, I know he's not dead. I know that's not what happened. Not to mention, we got a little green space, but it's not like we have a ton of property. That man, nah, he ain't hauling anything anywhere, not by himself anyway. Sorry, honey, but yeah, I don't know. I think you might be in the clear on that one. And I cannot see the chat. That's her. Nobody said anything anyway. No. I just don't know what to make of, like, because I do care about people. I just usually enjoy them more from a distance. Is that terrible? I don't know. And certainly, people who are more down on their luck, it's not that I don't want to help them, but I don't like personally have to do it necessarily with my own two hands. I don't have to make them the dinner, right? I don't have to cook them the food, right? Like myself, that's not wrong to not necessarily want to go to that level. I don't know. And more power to anyone who does want to do that. Obviously, I support that because they need to eat. Everybody needs to eat. And sometimes you get fucking down on your luck and whatever, but like, I'm not the one doing it. First of all, I have my own people to cook for, right? Like, I'm busy. I don't know. Oh, happy Saturday, everybody. They ought to be back quick. BP is not that far away. I'm not sure what the dog is barking at. They're gone, honey. Oh, gosh. If he needs an alibi out of loyalty, but sorry, Red, I ain't buying it. Does he really seem like that? He's not that bad. Gosh. Oh. Oh, he does have a weird vibe he puts out, though. It's because he's very, very sad. And that sounds so cheesy, but it's true. Tra-la-la. May have to go back inside for something else. Whoopsie daisy. But yeah, happy Saturday, everybody. And it's just a little sample of some of the craziness around here, It strikes when you least expect it. And I still haven't eaten my breakfast. You saw, though. You saw. I literally was gonna put the food in my mouth. And the insanity descended, right? Like, it was a beautiful example, really, that happened on live camera. Was actually really funny. That was pretty fucking funny. Oh, so, make of that what you will. But if I seem a little loopy sometimes, like, there are reasons for that. Yeah. Oh, my phone is buzzing. Why is my phone buzzing? Oh my gosh, you guys. I gotta get my focus back. We were doing really well. Oh my gosh. Do you guys remember where we were? Like, the video has some really fun themes in it. And I think the materialism versus idealism, essentially, that's a false choice. Okay. You don't need to choose between materialism and idealism. Ideas are not the only reality, but they sure do affect it. And your ideas about reality sure impact your experience of it, don't they? Like having a positive context for something can be the difference between something really fun and something really horrifying. I mean, it's like, I think the easiest example would be a roller coaster. If you like roller coasters and you chose to go on the thing, you're having a good time. If you don't and you didn't, you're having a very bad day. Same experience, different framing, right? That may be based on a true story. Um, Loopy people make the world interesting. Yes, they sure do. But, like, I have my quota met. That's the thing, is if we didn't have 3 kids living at home and my mother-in-law here and 3 dogs and 2 cats and, like, all of the various and sundry stuff that comes with all of that. To say nothing of my own life, which I do have one. Maybe we could talk. If it was just the 2 of us, maybe, hanging around the house doing our thing, maybe we could talk. But, like, we have met our quota of loopy people. 2 of our kids who live at home are teenagers. Like, we never met our quota. We don't need to be bringing them home from church. Like, what the fuck? As long as I get to keep on doing what I'm doing, I guess. I really do think this is important work. I think that the false choice of materialism versus idealism is kind of like the false choice of the individual versus society. Like, you're a part of society, dink. Hello? Whether you want to be or not, because you exist. Because it's just a group of people. That's all that is. It is not an entity that wants things from you. Grow up. And strict materialism just doesn't explain stuff. Ideas and the ability to act on them are like one of the defining features of being a human being. Right? So we don't want to just throw that away, do we? No. That, measuring material reality has become our passion project has really been fruitful. But the idea of a passion project, I mean, come on. You can't really have one without the other. That's a false choice. And I practice material feminism because I strongly believe that material reality should be, the watering hole we all have to return. It is the material water, the watering hole we all have to return to sustain ourselves, right? You have to eat too. You have to sleep too. I don't care how fucking grand your ideas are. Your shit stinks, right? We all have to deal with that. And it's the great equalizer. It's lovely in that way. We all have to come together there, whether we like it or not. No matter what your ideas are, no matter how much you might disagree with somebody in the realm of ideas, materially, you probably have a lot more in common with them. See, I think this distinction is really useful, can be really helpful in understanding what the fuck we're doing. So making it a choice has got to be incredibly destructive to, like, productive thought and conversation. I feel like there's just no way that's not true. Okay, I cannot say that. Have you read Henry Rubin? No. He said similar things to what you're saying about materialism and idealism. Good. I'm glad there are other people saying this. What I've heard as the main complaint from men about the casting of women in some of these superhero or other roles is they make the women perfect with no lessons to learn, no story arc of redemption. Right. Please do steal it. Use it everywhere. This is the kind of stuff that I wanted to say to people and have them go, oh yeah, duh. It's like the polio vaccine. I don't need credit for this shit. Please take it. Use it. Also, men toxic. But when women take on the toxicity, that's fine. Right, yeah, because we're like immune to it somehow because we're inherently good. And they like can't handle the authority or something. I think is like the subtext there. And I can completely understand how like a young man watching some of this stuff might imbibe some toxic messages about himself. Goodness knows the same thing happened to me about femaleness from exactly the same delivery method. I don't see why that's not happening. I don't see why that wouldn't be true. So the fact that they've just literally inverted the messaging, that is probably what that would do, right? And the problem is that whatever you are, what you attend to. Okay, mentally, it's like how you absorb, the attitudes of the people that you associate with. Well, how do you think ideas work? Okay, just having like experienced an idea, like it's in there now. Okay, you don't have to do anything with it, but you might want to do something with it, or it's just rattling around in there, and then you don't know what it's doing. It's like ideas matter, and they like I think we've all had this experience, right? Where you just kind of going along, not really doing anything in particular, not really thinking anything in particular, and you have a couple of thoughts that crash into one another and make something. And you're like, oh shit! All right, I think we call that having an idea, right? Raven, shut up! They're barking at each other. Raven, shut up! I've told like 3 people about the polio vaccine. I thought that was so awesome. He wanted to share that and didn't try to profit. Yeah, right? You want to talk about losing faith in humanity sometimes. And then there's others like, Raven, shut up. Do I have a stick I can throw to get this stupid dog out of my face? Ironically, not really. And that's definitely how I think of these ideas. Like, what, I'm gonna like patent them? No. Proprietarism. Anyway, I'm not trying to clamp this shit down at all. That's not why I'm out here saying it live on the internet. No. And I think that if more of this stuff gets around, not only would it make things easier and better for me, I think it would make it easier and better for a lot of people. So that's kind of the idea here. Please disseminate ideas. Please do. You don't have to credit me, although it would be nice because then more people would come here and hear it from the horse's mouth. Where I'm, you know what I mean. Cheers. And frankly, that's why I try to come up with like these phrases that I can repeat, because I know that makes stuff easier to remember. And like, oh my gosh, my grandma was the queen of the aphorism, right? Like the saying, she had little sayings for all kinds of situations where she would just be like, oh, here's my saying for that. And be like, damn, all right, that almost sounds wise, except I said that last time this shit happened too. So I'll be damned if she hasn't been dead for almost 10 years and I still hear them sometimes. I remember that shit, right? Because she repeated it over time like that. And I'm not just doing this like to hypnotize y'all. I'm also doing it for myself, because this is my little learning journey. And I'm so happy that anybody's interested in coming along with me. We're just trying to figure everything out like everybody, right? Thank God YouTube hasn't found a reason to censor you yet, or have they? I don't know. I have this suspicion that I used to have this strong suspicion that I was under some sort of rad femme shadow ban, right? Because I've never made any effort at hiding that at all. So if there were anybody, a bot or anybody doing any kind of a sweep for that kind of stuff, yeah, I would have got swept up in that. But then there's been, all this changing of the guard behind the scenes, right? And frankly, I've started to get a little traction here and there. It's spotty, and I know that part of that is because I don't link my videos. Like, I'm not playing the algorithm correctly. Because I simply don't have time to sit and fiddle with shit. That would take me an entire afternoon to do all that. Seems like they find even the smaller gender critical platforms, they've throttled you, it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah. Which, on the one hand is like, seriously, aggravating as all shit, right? But on the other hand, it does enable us to kind of have our little quiet corner over here where we don't have a lot of hateful people, come by and spewing vitriol at us. So that's kind of nice. If you guys are interested in helping me grow the community, I would love that. Please, invite people, share stuff around, share ideas around, start conversations. Who knows? Maybe somebody will ask, or you have the opportunity to just be like, yeah, so what's this chick guy's watching, I also think that this pendulum swings, right? Both the censorship and the cultural pendulum. Like, Kelly J. Keane hasn't had new subscribers in a long time. That's not an okay. You're right. Yeah, no, that's bizarre. Like, there's no way that woman hasn't actually physically encountered people in the real world who then said to themselves, I'm going to subscribe to this lady now. I guarantee you that has happened. Where did they go? That's weird. I feel like just not able to like, they just turn that feature off. I suppose they could. I mean, how would you even prove that without a subpoena? I don't know. I don't even want to think about the possible loss of revenue because I've only been doing this for years. To say nothing about the poor blog, which I did end up having to abandon because it just got squished out. Well, I started writing a book is what happened. And there's just only so much writing one could do, So yeah, I mean, it's got its pros and it's got its cons. And for right now, we have our quiet little corner to develop our ideas in, and to build our community in. I've got unsubscribed from many channels they obviously disagree with. Really? I shout you out on all the football and boxing channels I watch. With the crossover, I'm surprised it hasn't manifested into. Thanks, man. Doing me a solid there. That's first on the payroll the day I make any money. Unsubscribe, but right. You're right. So you just kind of discover that you're not subscribed to them anymore. I mean, like, newsflash, I, as a channel owner, cannot unsubscribe you from me. That's not how that works. I don't have any control over that unless I want to block somebody. But to just unsubscribe someone, as far as I know, I've never seen any way to do that. Your subscribers, that's up to them. They come to you. You don't, that's a one-sided thing. So I can't unsubscribe you from my channel. That's not how that works. So yeah, like, if you get unsubscribed from somebody, that was not the creator that did that, I would wager. So, that's got to be an internal thing. What's really funny is I think maybe they're just ignoring me entirely. I'm not sure. I don't think the algorithm has known what to make of me for quite some time. I've had this YouTube. This account right here is like 11 years old or some shit like that. And wouldn't you know it, I've gone through some phases in my life in that time. And wouldn't you know it, I haven't necessarily gone back and unsubscribed from stuff. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. For whatever reason. Therefore, my subscription list is like 450 channels long. And some of them contradict one another in various ways. Some of them are strictly opposition research, right? Our tech overlords who must not be named. Yeah, them. But so I think that I think I confused their algorithm a little bit because I throw a whole lot of shit. I've thrown a lot of shit at it over the years. And it also has this tendency, maybe I think other people get this too, where you'll see the same video. You're like, you know what? I didn't want to watch that last year, and I'm not going to watch it now either. What are you doing? Like, I better come back with my cigarettes soon. That's my last one. Yeah, so if they've throttled me for now, I'm actually fairly content with that because I am writing a book. Oh my god. On that front, in case anyone is, interested. I'm gonna have to completely retool the middle of book 3. Like the beginning is the same and the ending is the same. But yeah. What's up, Judy? How you doing? We were just discussing the possibility over whether or not I've been throttled by YouTube. And I was just saying that, well, if that's the case, it's kind of nice in a way because it gives us the opportunity to build our little community here, and build our ideas without a lot of hateful people coming by to spew shit at people. And like I was started to say, eventually this pendulum is going to swing back the other way. And so I'm going to have this long track record of having said the same thing, of having been consistent in the face of being ignored, in the face of being silenced and censored. And I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing. I mean, what am I going to do? Kiss the algorithm's ass? I'm kind of in a tough spot here in that I'm really just trying to speak the truth and learn and figure this shit out. So that is what it is. Why you got to say mean words, right? Poor AI can't be nuanced. Thank goodness. I'm fine with that. Why? When truth is mean, yeah. Truth hurts. That's what they say. And then it sets you free. Right? But yeah, no, I'm glad AI doesn't have that level of nuance. I think computers are extremely good at math. Why don't we just have them do all the math? Why do they need to be conversant? There's 8 billion of us. You trying to say we can't somehow find a way to talk to one another? And y'all remember Star Trek 4? Oh, a keyboard. How quaint. I like keyboards. I don't want to be able to have a conversation with my computer. I turn Siri off on my phone. I don't want to have a chat with my computer. That's not what it's for. And no more than I would want to have a chat with my oven or my car, okay, which are both computerized now as well. Nah, you hate Siri. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my mother-in-law has an Alexa, and my 6-year-old has started asking it questions, Hey, baby. How you doing?
All right.
I actually do talk to my car. It has a name and everything. Okay, that's fine. But it doesn't talk back, does it? You don't have a conversation with the car.
I don't know which one you like, so I got you one of each. But she said you could exchange the one if you don't like.
Those are both full flavors. Thank you. Wow. Okay.
Well, yeah. They had that, and they had the
lights.
No, they had the crush tabs. They didn't have any lights.
Oh.
Okay. Gonna fuck up?
No, it's fine. I'll live. Thank you.
You want me to take them back down and get you what you want?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. It's fine. We have other stuff to do today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We will leave the house again.
That wasn't what I meant, but is that Andrew guy gone or?
Yeah.
Okay. So you took him home or something?
Well, he's almost. I just told him to pick a corner. I'm was a little bit more gracious than that.
No. Yeah. But we said we weren't going to do that anymore.
The guy needed medicine.
I know.
It's not like it was some chick that was going to get some white knight syndrome over.
Well, true. I saw Riley Gaines last night in Davis, California. She was great. Ooh, who's that? Yeah, and it's like not like you invited him to stay.
Right.
So I suppose it's a gray area. You son of a bitch, how dare you be generous and kind to others. Stop it. Rude. My algorithm keeps pushing the Midas Touch channel, which I hate. They peddle in half-truths, conjecture, and fermenting rage. That's actually exactly why I did follow that channel, because, well, the flavor of that kind of stuff that's going on tells me a lot.
I need someone to tell me what to be mad at.
Right, yeah, that's basically the question. What are people mad about right now? Sometimes that's useful to know. But yeah, I mean, the sensationalism is very obvious, even in the thumbnails. Definitely.
I feel less than great. I'm going to help the kids clean up the kitchen.
Yeah.
If you just want to go to the Chinese or something, let me know.
Okay. I got about 45 minutes left on here. Ooh, actually, would you? Well, have Cole come here. I'll have him do it.
What?
I need the cable for the computer, but I need somebody to go plug in my extension cord behind the dryer.
Cole!
See? We have a young, strapping boy who we've raised, So, let him help us now. I don't see a problem with that.
Your mother wants you.
Hey, baby, can you please plug in my extension cord behind the dryer and bring me the computer cord, which is in the second drawer of my new dresser?
All right.
Thank you. And Tide's training for our sports. We are emboldened to all say no now. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's in the UK, right? The United States is a bit of a different animal in that it's just so fucking big. There are regions here that have whole separate identities. And I'm not saying that the UK doesn't have that. But those regions are the size of, half of Europe. No joke, okay? There's just... it's really more like dealing with a map of Europe in a lot of ways, except we most of us speak the same language, which doesn't necessarily help.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did you plug it in the wall?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love you. But yeah, I got about 45 minutes left on here. And then we can just figure out what we're going to do with the rest of our day. They've just literally been sitting. Take that dog in the house. I could stand in there and Raven's barking at her. And I could stand in there and Raven's barking at her. And it's like, will y'all stop that? That's not even she's right there. What is that? Good dogs, man. I'm telling you.
It's the play with me bark.
Oh, okay. That makes some sense. Ike is an old lady. She don't want to play with anybody, I bet.
Right. She wants to lay it on the stretches.
Okay, we have power. Hooray. Tumblr seems to be the only social media site whose algorithm doesn't push some more controversial stuff, and I love that.
Isn't Tumblr a gay dating profile?
No, that's Grindr.
Oh. Tumblr sounds like it should be a drinking.
But Tumblr is a rocks glass, yeah.
Right.
But no, it used to be back in the day where you would find all the weird pro Anna and sad girl stuff. Like, I don't know. I have not been on there in so long. Oh, my hair is hopeless today. What's up?
I just think you're pretty now. I'll leave you to your lady and your men bashing.
Well, I just feel ironically self-conscious with you sitting in here and looking at me. Like, I don't know. I know that that's silly. I'll see you in a little bit. I love your videos where you go into the historic Hellenistic era and like the Bible cults, etc. I think I've only done that a couple of times. What is it about those videos in particular that you think is, especially good? Oh Christ! Woohoo! Gotta move the umbrella again. Because I'm sitting in the sun again. Something like that. Well, that might do. No, you're in the sun. We're both in the sun. Who am I kidding? Come on, umbrella. Be cool. I'm sorry, this must be so boring to watch. Ooh. Maybe? Ika, what do you think you want, honey? I don't have anything on here for you. Okay. Did your husband just call me a lady? Do I blush? How kind of you? No, I think you said he was leaving me to my lady and male bashing. I don't know. He knows the video this week is about both sexes. So, I run a feminist channel. So normally I sit here and do male bashing. Right? That's the joke. I think. We clearly know they depersonified women by the first agricultural era. Let's see. Dude, I totally get self-conscious when my boyfriend watches me live stream on TikTok. Yeah, right. It's strange. It's different to have somebody, like a person there in the room watching you. And I'm feeding cells. It's good to find the roots of why certain cultures went rogue on women. Yeah. Yeah. I'd really, really, really like to know that. Everyone loves a good tale of cults, right? Oh, I thought you said Grinder. No. I feel like you and my husband are telling yourselves a little bit here that I said Tumblr and you heard Grinder. I don't know. I don't. Far as I know, he's not like that. We clearly know they depersonified women by the first agricultural era. Right. But like, why? I mean, the how is definitely interesting and worth, untangling. But why? Check hubby's hard drive. Yeah, right. If he hadn't literally worked in the corner of my bedroom for 3.5 years, like I was looking over his shoulder every 10 minutes, like, and I can see it through the window from outside. Like, there is no way he could have. Men have the colonizer gene. Well, okay, but like, genes are funny. Their expression can be modified. by lots of different things. So, you know, some men hunt criminals, some men hunt butterflies. Like it's like they are people, you know what I'm saying? Like there's variation there. There's possibility for variation there. And like, I don't know, we need to figure out what it is we're dealing with so that we as a society can like try and deal with it. These days we're not even really supposed to discuss the any of the ways that men and women are different at all. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of hope of figuring out what the colonizer gene is, or if such a thing, exists or whatever. Like, men gonna keep on being men though. Like I did say that in the video. And it's so strange to me how that man, like that's clearly a man talking about the Barbie movie in my video, right? Like there's no ambiguity in that voice. That's a man's voice. Talking about how maybe one day all men will disappear and that identity won't really mean anything. It's like as a virtue signal. And you're like, why are you saying this? Why would this even be an idea that you feel you need to express? Like, well, like my guy, I know he's not doing anything because he spends literally all his time on World of Warcraft. Hey, yeah, sometimes you really just do kind of know that, And it's hard to convince anyone that you know that. I will say that, yeah. My household's teaching a friend of ours how to flirt. So I'm leading by example. I'm back on Grindr as of this week. Oh, ha 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 ha. Yeah. Sounds like you live an interesting life. Like, okay, here's the question. I don't think I know this. How old are you? And this is just for my own personal context. Like, and I don't mean to be like, oh my God, you're being so childish. No, like literally, I just like, what part of your life are you in? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't sound dissimilar from like my 20s. Like, Barbie is basically telling men to become women, like the dude in the movie gets to be in the grown-ups talking circle. Yeah. Right. So the messaging, but the thing that the empowering message at the end of the Barbie movie is to reject idealism for gritty realism. Yeah, is that a positive message for women either? Like, again, you kind of have to, we've been. You want to talk about a thought terminating cliche? Oh, the slippery slope is a myth. Sometimes it's not, though. Okay, I don't even want to talk about slippery slopes. Like, let's just talk about snowballing. Okay, like you can start with an idea or a fact. Okay, that creates an idea. And over time, over decades, over generations, over centuries, these ideas snowball and they just get added to and added to and added to, right? That is how this works. And any student of history could tell you this, how you have to kind of do almost archaeology back through the philosophy of the different eras to understand even sometimes what the fuck they're talking about. Barbie movie was trans propaganda. Do you ever cover Brianna Wu? What got me intrigued was when everyone was gaslighting, saying Brianna isn't trans and Brianna's saying the same. It was plainly obvious. I do not know who that is. So no. Who is that? What do they do? I seriously am going to have to go in about half an hour at 2 o'clock though, because I haven't actually eaten anything today and I should fix that. Yeah. For sure. I think your average person doesn't realize that was a man. See, my husband, even after I pointed it out to him, he had trouble seeing it. Which brings me back to the idea that perhaps, some of the things that trigger the male psyche are a little more shallow than they like to believe they are. Because that's clearly a dude. Ironically, the redheaded one, right? Of course. Like, don't get me started on the fact that the one with the red hair is the one who's actually a dude. Do we want to start getting, the messaging there for little red-haired girls who, let me tell you this, you feel singled out sometimes by that shit. Because you just can't help it, because that's the kind of shit that happens. They couldn't make her blonde, obviously, and then we didn't want to make her just another brunette. Your average man should have said, "You are correct." Thank you. Right? I know you're 27. Okay, yeah, no, that's about right. That sounds about right. Yeah, I would have guessed mid-20s. Just from some of the stuff that you say is going on in your life, Literally, how is the Barbie movie trans propaganda? What would it even mean for a Barbie doll to be trans? Like, that's a good question. I really kind of felt like, honestly, he felt like a token to me. Okay, because the whole movie is about women's issues and feminism, and it's a satire of that. From what I have been able to gather, I need to sit through the damn thing. We're gonna go over the summer, and then we just, we didn't go that week, and then it didn't happen. But like, it appears to be a satirical representation of, feminism and women's issues. Barbie is a walking gender performance. Exactly. And they seem to have tried to use that to, like, make some satirical turns here and there. But, like, shit, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, but so that you can't just talk about feminism, okay? You can't just talk about women's issues. You can't do that. So they had to put a trans woman in it. Because otherwise the whole damn thing would have been transphobic. That was my take on that. The guy felt like a token to me. And it cracks me up that they managed to get somebody who passes so well until he opens his mouth. It's trans propaganda because it normalizes that these men blend in easily with women. Well, we know that is not the case 99% of the time. Right. Well, see, that's the same. I suppose it could be said to be that, but only in the same way that we've seen 100 times, 1,000 times at this point, right? It's just that same message that they are almost cranking out automatically now. There's no difference. They're all the same. There's no difference. Brianna Wu was part of the Gamergate drama. How women are treated in the video game industry. Brianna Wu stepped up to be the voice of women, but not trans women. Okay. So, Brianna Wu is a woman who never claimed to be trans, who people are accusing her of not being trans. Like, I hope nobody ever accuses me. You know what? You can't even accuse me of not being trans, because technically I was. But, like, like, come at me. Accuse me of something I'm guilty of. Oh, no. But so, yeah, that's the same propaganda that's in everything now. Okay. That's why they just kind of will stick a trans woman in all kinds of shit. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Not something where they're the main character, but something where they are just kind of one of the group. Somebody help me out here. I know I've seen this. That's usually how you see them. The problem is I just don't watch a lot of TV anymore. I've reached that point in my life where most of my references are dated because I just haven't made time to watch TV. Which, like, why would I? I have stuff to do, like talk to you guys for another 25 minutes or so. I'm not watching the clock or anything. I'm not hungry at all. Oh, yeah, and I left my box of goodies in the house. I may have to go get that. And I'm almost out of coffee. It's just a shame. We're going to have to go in the house. And it is a mess in there. Although women who perform femininity like Kim K are becoming indistinguishable from the uber pornified Tims, at least on screen, but not in person. Right. And so many of us experience so much of life through a screen now. So everything kind of takes on that same sheen, and it can be very difficult to tell. It's like looking through a window. You don't get the whole view, do you? I don't know if I fully agree with your take. I do agree the trans character was a bit tokeny. Oh, okay. But to be fair, so was the wheelchair using Barbie and the black Barbie, etc. Yeah, true. I mean, really, there's a bottomless pit of despair, right? The tokenism in Barbie, not necessarily the movie, but like the brand. There's a bottomless pit of despair. Hang on a second. Maybe. How's that, huh? Well, but so I guess what I'm saying is also that as far as the trans woman in the Barbie movie, I was not surprised and not even particularly offended. At this point, I expected that kind of thing. Because, like I said, you couldn't just make a movie about girl stuff. You're not allowed to do that. Because they're girls too. Doggone it. I thought all the other Barbies were tokens of each oppressed group. I mean, I guess. Yeah. And it's really sort of funny how you can illustrate that, like, stereotypical Barbie is literally the waspy one. You know, the tall, thin, blonde hair, blue eyed, you know, our beauty standard, right? And essentially all the other Barbies are deviations from that, which is terrifying to think of. You know, that's just how they made it. I'm not trying to make any statement. That's just an observation. That's you know. I mean, and the thing about that is they stole Barbie, like the image, like the character, like they stole her from like a sort of tokenism is bullshit, of course. But you know, like the image of Barbie, like the way she looks, was stolen from a German doll. Which is not to make an excuse, but like Germany has a much higher percentage of like fair-haired people than a lot of other places. So her looking that way in that context is a bit different than her being the foundation of an entire empire of girly stuff. I think, anyway. Yeah, the only bit of the movie which addressed anything not relevant to white women specifically was that bit with the Latina mom. Yeah. Which, like, I'm going to say here that, like, it's possible that maybe white women have their own shit to work out. I would venture to say that we do. However, Barbie doesn't just belong to white women. It's too big for that. Yeah, you want to. If you're a part of the culture, then those cultural touchstones belong to you too. Like if you played with a Barbie as a kid, you know, she belongs to you too. I don't care. That's stupid. To be exclusionary, like really. I guess the question would be how common is it actually is for trans women to be included unproblematically in women's social groups? I genuinely just don't know either way. Yeah. I don't have any stats for you on that either. I've read some horror stories, but those are, you know, biased sources. I do admit that because those women got together to tell those horror stories. So I'm not going to say that's representative of like a generic sample because it's not. I will say that generally speaking, someone who has built their identity around something that's so, well, I mean, not true, you know, if somebody really, has sort of hypnotized themselves to believe that they have some woman essence inside, that's the kind of thing I mean. Okay. A delusion. If you are delusional, then there's a certain element of, I think, insecurity that comes from that. Because, and this is like people have like a relationship with God or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. You can't prove God doesn't exist. You can prove hypothetically to this man that he's not a woman. You could. You could demonstrate it to him somehow by accident and freak him the fuck out. Okay? That's what I'm saying. People whose identities are not built on solid ground are volatile. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. That's just going to be true for anyone. So, like, that would be why I would hesitate to hang out with someone like that. Because they have reason to believe they might be volatile. Yeah, the only thing, like to say that I wouldn't. Okay. Excuse me. But again, like my ex-brother-in-law, my sister's ex-husband, decided that he was a woman in about 2014. I reintroduced him to my very confused 6-year-old at the time. And continued associating with them as normal. Like I did every conversation with my son in private afterwards. Which I'm glad I did, because later on we moved into a family with 2 older sisters, and all of a sudden for a little while he told me he wanted to be a girl, and I knew exactly why. Because they're bonded and he's the odd guy out. He was 7. So I had this feeling that he didn't really understand what he was saying. And I have some pretty strong personal insight into why someone might say something like that. Poor little thing. Add to that, he liked My Little Pony and shiny, sparkly, pretty stuff. Because, like, who the fuck doesn't like shiny, sparkly, pretty stuff? Really? And shit, I grew up in the era, in the place and time where people thought that kind of shit could turn you gay. I have known people who honestly believed shit like that. Which is why you will occasionally hear me say things like, there's only one thing in this whole world that makes you gay. And liking sparkly shit is not it. Is it? No. Did you see South Park weighed in quite brilliantly on the pandering to women and minorities topic? No, I didn't. Is that the one that the Critical Drinker did a review of? Something about Dolphinville or something? I haven't watched that video yet. Frankly, that's how I keep up on a lot of my cultural stuff, is I don't actually watch the movies anymore. Or, like in this case, if I really do want some more context, I will go and hunt down the clip. But like, y'all, I simply haven't had the time to sit through an entire hour-and-a-half long movie in like literal years. And if I do have that amount of time, I'm doing something else with it. Because when it comes to women's social groups, I think it's very easy to look at trans women who don't pass visually, which most of us probably don't pass under close scrutiny, and say we don't fit in. Okay. But that's like saying the fat girl doesn't fit in. That's not really fair, is it? I would agree. I think that's what you're implying there, and I would agree with that. On the other hand, we used to have this trope of like the gay friend, right? He was a dude, but he hung out with the girls. He was part of the girly clique, right? You remember that guy? It's not about visuals. Right, no, it's not. It's not. I mean, we've all had the experience of looking like you should fit in and feeling like you don't, right? I think everyone has that experience at some point in their life. The proof is in the pudding on that one. Whether you or not you fit in the group depends on whether you mesh with the group. Like in practice, personality, If in hanging out you add, to the dynamic in a constructive and pleasant way, then you fit in with the group. And if you don't, then you don't. Sometimes boy, did it take me a while to figure this out because I'm not real good at that. Does that make me a bad person? When I was 10, I thought maybe it did. I had the gay best friend, and he has gone really autogynephile. Not declaring he's a woman, but foon drag? You mean full on drag? But doing drag, okay. And women must have the right to assemble and associate with women only. Right, yeah. Right. And the word counterpart keeps coming up when I'm thinking about this stuff. Is there's a counterpart to almost everything on the other side. Right? Is that, yeah, there are differences, but like we're still the same species. Okay. And it's like when I tell you talk about the watering hole of material reality, that's where we all live, right? And men and women kind of exist on two different sides of it, but we do still share that, right? And you want to think about it like a watering hole, you can kind of wander over to the other side, can't you? And kind of hang out over there, idea wise. And I don't think that's harmful. I think that's probably good. The strict separation of the sexes, like mentally, idea wise, totally different mental spheres, is probably not good for a larger society. Because we have to come together at some point in order to perpetuate that society. It's just a thought. Yeah. If you want to think about it, it's almost as if, like if you roll back the clock 200 years, and you find a world where men and women live almost entirely separate lives. Okay, at least in, the upper classes, the people who like recorded the culture and like put together a lot of the shit that we're working with now. Because unfortunately, the poor people did not have an opportunity to really, the lower classes did not really get to have much input on that. So we're talking, unfortunately, about the middle and upper class here. Men and women lived almost entirely separate lives. By the Victorian era, it was common for a husband and a wife to have separate bedrooms entirely. Okay, so they might not even see each other for days, weeks, sometimes months on end. Okay, not because they didn't, because they were separated, but because they lived separate lives. And, as a woman, you had your lady's maid, you had maybe your daughters, your children you might see. But, like, you didn't see other men either. Certainly not someone you weren't married to. Oh, my goodness, what a scandal. Okay. And now we've kind of completely done away with that, which is nice. Because that wasn't really necessary, right? It's not like men are not such beasts that the bare sight of a woman is going to send them into a frenzy. If they are, they need to see someone about that. And women are not such delicate flowers that we need to be, cloistered away from the world. Like, that's not how this is at all. Those are both very extreme ideas. My mom and dad have separate bedrooms. So did my dad's parents, mostly due to the men being drunks. Yeah, my grandparents slept separately for years too because my granddad snored like a sawmill. It wasn't because they didn't like one another or whatever. It's because she wasn't getting any sleep. And when he got a PAP machine years later, they went back to sharing a room again. So, sometimes we have reasons for these things. But as a rule, like if you're married to someone and you want to share a bedroom with them, that shouldn't be weird. Like you want to share a space with your partner, that shouldn't be weird. It started for my parents because the pets were crowding them. See, sometimes people have reasons for things, and it doesn't necessarily mean there's trouble in paradise, right? Pets are people. Oh, pets are greater than people in our house. Ooh. Yeah, see, again, as somebody with kids, I've had to make that not a thing. The kids come before the dogs. Well, because the kids are going to have to grow up and become functional human beings in society one day. The dogs, I'm not so worried about in that regard. There's more at stake. You know what I'm saying? Not for me, but like for the world. Like one of these days I'll be dead and my kids will still be out there causing trouble for somebody. It's a weird thought. But like that's one reason I never want kids. Too much responsibility. And that's totally fair. I'll say it once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you don't want kids, don't have them. That's probably a good idea. Unwanted children are just such a tragedy, right? So let's not do that. I mean, duh. And, it's good to flex that nurturing muscle, for lack of a better, I'm trying to think of a better way to say that. But to nurture your nurturing side, if that makes any sense, like, to have the pet, to have the animals, to have, maybe a partner, someone you share things with. It's good to have connections and warmth in your life, and nurture smaller things in you, that kind of thing. It's not necessary for that to be an entire other human being. In order for that to be, a good experience, I don't think for everyone. That's kind of nutty. I've met women who are like, you'll never know. Oh my God. Was it Abby Shapiro or Abby Roth? Sorry. That's disrespectful. She changed her name. So, yeah. Like, I'm not one of those people who goes around pedantically referring to people by their old names. That's so, frankly, I'm not the kind of person who goes around pedantically referring to anyone in any kind of way that doesn't suit me, because I just don't have brain power for that shit. I don't have the extra bandwidth for that shit. I wish I would have had kids now that I can't, but never met a man who I wanted to have them with. All right, yeah, you mentioned that before. That's well, my first kid was an accident, so I don't have a whole lot to offer you on that, unfortunately. And his father's in Canada, so life is complicated. I've got 2 sweet dogs, and they've got big barks, and they take their post at the front door as soon as it gets dark. Nice. One of the best security systems you'll find. Oh my God, this stupid thing is so stuck together. Shit. How much time we got? Ooh, 7 minutes. Okay. It's not just stereotypes, it's body language, pheromones, biology, our own primal instincts to assess threat level, evolution. It's hard to hear, but true. Right. And I guess what I was trying to say is I think a lot of what we're dealing with now in the total disintegration of the idea of man and woman is almost a reaction to the over structurization of it for such a long time. That we as a society kind of went, yeah, well, we did all that and it sucked. So we're just not going to do any of this shit anymore. But like, baby with bathwater, you know what I mean? Like, and the funny thing about that baby is it just will not go away. Men and women are different. But like, how? Or why? To what extent? And to, degree, like, we can't even talk about this. And it's not any better than the opposite, where you, I guess, probably weren't allowed to talk about it 200 years ago either. You weren't allowed to say that maybe women should go to school. That maybe men and women are just as smart as one another. That wouldn't have been taken seriously. It's the, we flipped it. Which is, as we said several times in this video, you can't just flip the script and have that work. You have to actually assess things. You just don't remember names. Oh, I wish I could. I don't remember names. Who doesn't remember names? Susie? I've got 2 sweet dogs. Oh, right. I don't know. I'm sorry, Red. I didn't see that. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I think I might be getting a little loopy because I'm hungry, you guys. Yeah. And I'm out of coffee. So, 5 minutes. Oh, actually, honey, if you're watching this, would you have that boy come and get my mug and pour me a cup of coffee? That would be the bomb. Men and women aren't different until it comes to military draft. Then they stop pretending. Oh, I could probably think of a couple other places where they stop pretending. Like, well, I mean, I suppose there are some guys who are way too interested in period stuff. But generally speaking, that's about all you have to invoke in order to get a guy to stop asking questions, right? Where are you going? Period stuff. Okay. Have a good time. Like, they don't want to know anymore, right? Or the hen circle where everybody starts telling childbirth stories. Men run away from that pretty fast. I mean, frankly, it a lot of times it's the few remaining corners of female life where men just don't generally want to go. I would always tell my dad female problems if I wanted to shut him up and stop him asking where I'm going and stuff. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Lady problems. Oh, like that's the thing. Is it's like a dog who caught the car, right? What does he do with it? They have this impulse, and if they succeed, they don't always know what to do they? You know. U.S. have said trans women will be drafted, not trans men. They know when it counts for male business. Yeah, okay. You're taking it the other way. Women's sports, who cares in their eyes? Yeah. Yeah, right. And, you do have to connect the dots a bit. But it's really obvious who is actually in charge of this stuff still, isn't it? Based on what gets done and what doesn't. Can we get the kidnapped new boy to come on screen so we can do the blink twice if you need help protocol? I'm worried for him. No, they left a while back. He took him and dropped him off somewhere when they went to get the cigarettes. And I assume he bought him a pack of cigarettes because, you guys, don't be spreading rumors on my husband. Come on now. That's not cool. That's not cool. He's a good guy. Yeah. Ta-ta. It's 1:57. I'm gonna go here in a minute or 3. Thank you all so much for hanging with me. Seriously, I'm so glad the weather cooperated for us. Isn't it gorgeous out here today? It looks like summer, doesn't it? Oh, I mean, I got long sleeves on, but says it's only 55, but it feels really nice out here. It's gorgeous. Can't just flip the script and have it work. Totally. To be honest, when I peaked, I sort of went full gender critical for a bit, and it led to some really unhealthy places, being a transsexual. Yeah, and you know what? Even if one starts at one place and ends up at the end of that journey in a very, very, very different place, you have to take time to get places. You can't just expect your mind to, keep up with that shit. Just because TRAs are wrong doesn't mean the other side is totally correct. Agreed. No philosophy has it all down. Why the fuck do you think I think it's so important to talk about this shit? We have to talk about this stuff. So many of these questions are just either completely unanswered or the answers are so bad that they take you down the wrong direction entirely to some really scary places, right? Oh, thank you, Susie. We didn't see Mary today. That's a bummer. I hope she's okay. I haven't talked to her in a little while. But talked to her so much in a little while. No one is totally correct, but the truth is still the truth. Right. It's not that it's not worth looking for. It is. Like I say, ideas matter. If ideas didn't matter, why in the fuck is censorship a thing? Come on. According to the TRAs, ideas can kill you, right? Misgendering someone can literally kill them. So, that's obviously the idealist camp over there. And it is very easy. And I did at first, I think, take up reflexively a strictly materialist stance against that. And frankly, the more and more I think about it, the more I'm like, that's not true either, though. Ideas matter. Literature matters. Stories matter. Because they affect our behavior. Which is a material thing. So, the line there is nowhere near as stark as we would like to believe that it is, I think, honestly. That's another reason that's a false choice. Idealism and materialism inform one another. How? To what extent? How does that work? These are all really good questions. There's tons and tons of good questions out there that just haven't even been asked. Because in my opinion, we have been looking at a lot of stuff backwards. Or just incorrectly. Like I say, society is not an entity that wants anything from you. I'm not going to sit here and go all Mrs. Thatcher and be like, society does not exist, because it does. There is a group of people. We are a group of people, yes. The whole words are violence thing only works one way for the TRAs, because when they want to flame someone with insults, they don't hold back. You know, I've wondered about that. Actually. The way they mob someone, it's almost as if they feel like they have pitchforks, doesn't it? I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, they're being irrational no matter how you slice it. But I'm just saying that maybe they feel like they're doing more damage than they are. Maybe they do believe words are violence and they're, trying to beat you up. It's kind of what it feels like. I mean, I am at least willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they believe the crazy shit they say they believe. That doesn't make it not crazy. Yeah, they told me I shouldn't be allowed to reproduce. Joke's on them, I don't want to. You can't quit me. You can't fire me. I quit. Like, they have a say anyway. That's so incredibly. Their violence is speech. Our speech is violence. Ooh. I like that. TRAs have told you that? See, I've seen nasty, violent rhetoric coming from all sides. Like I say, we don't dismiss, like, okay, if we were going to dismiss a philosophy because of the extremists, like, no one should convert to Islam ever again. And I've heard people literally say that fundamentalist Islam is not Islam. Just as an example off the top of my head. But we've been told that that's not what Islam is. Islam is a religion of peace, which, like, I'm not going to sit here and debate that with you. But I've heard this for 20 some odd fucking years at this point. You can't say that. You can't be like, oh, well, the fundamentalist Christians are not the real Christians. Real Christianity is about love and whatever. It's like, okay, but like, so we're going to write off, so-called radical feminism because some of them are like man haters. Because we're going to write off any philosophy because some of them are haters of any group. What about the whole all three Abrahamic religions are all religions are misogynist. All of them. They all start with the idea that God is a man. and if you think God is a man, first of all, you probably are one. Secondly, how's that going to inform your perspective on the world? There's just no way you're going to see women as equal to yourself if God is like you and they aren't. That's just straightforwardly just a broken foundation for relations between the sexes, and it makes me so sad. I don't see as much violent rhetoric from the TERF side, but certainly a lot of rhetoric intended to evoke disgust and stuff. Like calling, right, yeah, right, okay, maybe you wouldn't call that violent rhetoric. See, I would, because they use the metaphor of an axe wound. It's not violent as in it's calling for violence, but it is using violence to elicit a visceral response, right? Being candid, I do think most of the violent threats and actions come from the TRA side. As I say, people who have based their identity on a demonstrable falsehood or are delusional to the point that they believe something that is so obviously untrue, they're volatile. So, and I don't care what it is they believe. The TRAs want to show examples of TERFs being violent. They usually show conservative men. Well, that's sort of cheating, isn't it? Like conservative. Who the hell do you think is almost the population of the military? Is conservative men, right? Like, that's what they do. It's kind of their thing. It's performative violence. That's not fair. But giving them even that opening is, I saw that coming years ago when the American conservatives started being against the trans rights movement. I saw that coming. I'm like, oh, great. There's who we want to be on stage with. Fucking hell. Oh, and no offense, a lot of the Brits, I don't think really quite understood what they were dealing with there. maybe y'all have got a better idea in the last few years of what American conservatism looks like. It looks like Andrew fucking Tate. But, without the shiny sunglasses and the leather jacket. All right? But it's the same ideas. That's a major political party in our country. Yeah. That's who was sending money. Like, that's why that upsets people. That's why people call Kelly J. Keane a Nazi. That's why. There is, and I really want to say that, like, maybe all Brits did not understand what that was. Go easy on us. We don't even understand what food is yet. That is such a lie. That is not true. I happen to know that the English invented fried chicken. So there you go. Nobody likes to hear that, but the English invented frying fucking food. Like the way we do it now. Like that's, yeah, poor English people started doing that. That's what that is. So, I don't believe that's not true. Also, like, cheddar is one of the most popular cheeses in the world. So, not buying it. Sorry. Frankly, if it wasn't for y'all, what would we eat? What would we Americans eat? We didn't have cheese and fried stuff. Oh my God. No, Americans are the ones with no cuisine. We literally have no, like, and it goes back to what I was saying about regions. We have regional cuisine. Okay. Down in the Southwest, they have something called Tex-Mex, which is really good, actually. In the Midwest, you'll get a mixture of, like, kind of Irish and German stuff. Okay. You'll get a lot of Swedish meatball like stuff, kind of more sour sauce with beef and noodles, that kind of thing. Cracker Barrel ain't real cuisine. Is any of that actually American? Like, hamburgers were invented by immigrants, theoretically, on that boat. The Hamburg, right? Like, is any of this stuff actually American? Did we actually invent any of it? I've been told we invented pizza in its modern form. That may be so. I don't know about that, but like corn on the cob, maybe. Okay. I don't think Europeans are prone to just eating corn on the cob. Y'all don't grow a lot of corn, do you? So, or maybe that. I love Cracker Barrel because they have the root beers in the actual bottles, and we'd always pretend we were drinking beer, right? As kids, good times, right? Apple pie. Americans did not invent apple pie any more than we invented baseball. I'm sorry. This I don't actually know, but like baseball's just cricket on steroids, right? Right? Like it's the same fucking game, but with 2 extra bases. I don't get it. I don't. Wow. This is the part where I get to say that I'm an Anglophile who was like so steeped in like British culture by the time I was like a teenager that like I literally encountered British iterations of stuff before sometimes the American version of stuff. Not baseball, because that would be ridiculous. But yeah, various cultural idioms and just concepts and stuff. Like the older I get, the more I realize, like, yeah, I think I might have watched too much British TV as a kid. And that's what I've said a couple of times. Like, there have been times when I was the only American here. Like, I'll have 4 or 5 Brits in the chat, and I'm the only American here. I'm like, you guys deserve the real thing. And that feels like such a cheat. I'm not. I don't think I qualify as a stereotypical American in a lot of ways. Like, I'm sure in some I do, because you can't help that. But, I was going to go 10 minutes ago. Hot dogs must be genuinely American. It's a derivative of something. Bratwurst strudel. Okay. Yeah. It's like, it's, I want to say it's German, actually, because, oh God, what's it called? Bologna, right? That meat that, like, they'll put pimentos in and stuff. Even chicken fried snake is Wiener Schnitzel. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And like, right. Somebody's like trying to serve you this thing with this very interesting name. You're like, oh, I had this last week at my mom's. Like, but yeah, hot dogs are essentially a tube of bologna. And like bologna, like that's a European, like, you know, I want to say it's part of the bratwurst family, you know, the German sausagey sort of thing. So no, I don't think we invented those either. And then I guess in the Northwest or the Northeast they have a lot of seafood there, you know, because the coast and big coastal cities and everything. I don't know what they eat in the Northwest because I've never really been there. The fact that y'all know Cracker Barrel, that cracks me up. I mean, not you, Kitty, because I know you're in Illinois, right? So we're practically neighbors. But land of immigrants equals food of each immigrant diluted down to what it is today. Yeah, exactly. And like, I'm not saying that this is a problem, but like for British people to suggest to me that y'all don't understand food, that feels very backwards. Y'all get food, you know. Y'all imported a lot of apparently, you know, spices from India and whatever, because like there was this whole British Raj thing. I don't know if you heard about it. Like, you know, so that changed the local cuisine quite a bit, all those imported spices. And I don't think it ever really, you know, was the same. And, you know, in a lot of ways, Britain is also a land of immigrants, isn't it? Which brings me back to that, you know, especially from being the core of that great empire for all those years and whatever. So there's a lot of, at this point, they were immigrants 100 years ago. And frankly, my understanding of the way it's evolved is like there's a lot more, I mean, if you want to call them foreign influences, but, you know, inbreeding is bad for everyone and everything. Ideas, people, ideas, cuisine, you know, bringing in outside influences is probably a good thing, right? Yeah. But so yeah, it's not as if Britain is like some untouched pearl culturally either, right? No. And it just hits me over and over again how interesting it is, how much in common we do have. Not just because of our common, you know, obviously, you know, we were your colony, but like ongoing, like development, like we develop sort of in parallel. It's very interesting. Yeah, I'm in London at the moment. We have tons of foreign food here. It's great. Yeah, right. That's what I've heard about London is it's very international, which of course it is. It's London, for fuck's sake. Of course it is. I would be shocked if it weren't. I would, you know. That and being an island, you do have to import a lot of stuff. Like you kind of have to deal with foreigners to some extent, right? You simply cannot manufacture everything you need at home. British food used to be bland, but still delicious. And cheese and all the dairy way better in the UK. Oh, now curry is a staple of British food. So yeah, right. Don't get me started on the dairy food. Anyway, I should go. I'm so hungry. If that weren't obvious, I think I might be hungry, you guys. So I'm gonna go and have some food and some coffee, and yeah. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Saturday. I'll have a good Sunday, and you know, maybe invite some people over to our little hidden corner of the internet. Okay, you know, so we're building a strong community. We're building some ideas here. I don't know. I think this could be a lot worse. Thank you guys so much. Really, this is so cool and so much fun. And you know, if you leave a comment underneath the video, I do try to respond to them. I really, really do. I don't always get to them. And then, you know, by the next week, it's like I have a whole new set of stuff to deal with. But I would love to hear what everybody thinks of the video. Thanks for chatting, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.